Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Green Jeans. We have a super short episode today. We just had to have a reaction to the Met Gala, so that's what we're going to be talking about. But just a quick reminder, if you haven't watched this before, we are a mother-daughter duo who talks about important environmental and social justice issues through a generational lens because I'm just starting in my activism career and my mom has been doing it for a long time, her whole life. So my name is Annika Van Rossum,
I'm Maya Van Rossum.
and by listening to this podcast, we also hope you'll check in the show notes and support the two great organizations that my mom works at, has founded, I work at, which is Delaware Riverkeeper Network and Green Amendments for the Generations. But with that, we'll get into the episode. So, yeah, you had a question for me, Mom?
Yeah. So you came to me and said, "Hey, Mom, did you hear about that Met Gala? That seems like we should do a show about that. That was kind of outrageous that they ignored the environment." To which I said to you, "What's the Met Gala?" So I figure some of our listeners might not know about the Met Gala. I now know all about it. But could you just lay out for people what the Met Gala is? What's its purpose?
So I actually never really knew what it was. I just remember like, yeah, it's this thing that happened every year, and everyone would like you'd see on TV like the best and worst dressed of the Met Gala, and then like this interview, and last year there was like a viral interview with Jack Harlow and one of the interviewees, and she awkwardly was like, "I love you," and it was, or he said, "I love you," and she was like, "Love you back." Anyways, it's just this viral thing, but what it actually is it's an annual fundraising, I'm pulling this from Wikipedia, is an annual fundraising gala held for the benefit of the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in Manhattan. And it says the Met Gala is popularly regarded as the world's most prestigious and glamorous fashion event and social gathering and is known as fashion's biggest night, and an invitation is highly sought after. So, and my understanding, I can be super wrong. My understanding is basically like in terms of the fashion is that different designers, I don't know if the designers pick the celebrity or the celebrities pick the designer, but it's basically like this celebrity gets dressed by this specific designer, and so that's kind of like the big thing, and you get to feature it, and that's why some of the outfits maybe are like crazy because you kind of just have to wear what the person tells you. That's my understanding. If any celebrity listens to this and I'm super wrong, please feel free to tell me. But that's
Okay,
my
so
understanding.
all right. So why then this particular year? What was the theme that made you and I like made our heads pop a bit and feel like we had to highlight what was going on here in terms of the environmental justice and social justice context? What was the theme?
So I'm gonna pull two different references. So the first one, I when I read Fast Company, an article by Fast Company, they said Vogue touted it as the theme is called The Garden of Time, and it's called a cell. This is like very ironic, a celebration of clothing and fashion so fragile that it can't ever be worn again. So that's one version, and then another environment by impact wrote, so I think there's like a exhibit that gets featured every year. So this exhibit that was featured, the theme was Sleeping Beauties, Reawakening Fashion. And they wrote the theme explores notions of rebirth and renewal using nature as a metaphor for the impermanence of fashion.
Well, that I mean, like you couldn't have a greater disparity. Here they're supposed to be talking to about or connecting with nature which is so resilient and is all about reusing and recycling and moving forward in a sustainable way. That's sort of about all of nature. And yet now we've got this fashion event, which, as you said, is like a one-time deal. We're going to put all this time, all this money, all this resources, but more importantly, from our perspective, right, all of the ecological resources and ecological impacts are all going into these single-use dresses and outfits. And I think that's what is so alarming and outrageous, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely the phrase "fashion so fragile that it can't ever be worn again." Well, you know what can't ever happen again? Earth. Earth can't just be recreated out of nowhere and you can pay for it. And like, okay, it can't ever be worn again. Nothing that ever, I don't think, I don't know, because I don't follow this stuff. I don't think anybody who's gone to the Met Gala has ever reworn their outfits. Ever. So I don't know why this is any different. And it's just
Well,
like a big slap in the face to climate activists and people who are suffering because of pollution, that the theme is nature. And you spend, this is, I was reading, I don't think this applies to the celebrities. I'm assuming this is like regular people, but it might, I don't know. A ticket to go to the Met Gala is $75,000.
yeah. So tons of ecological resources, huge environmental input in terms of water, in terms of toxins, in terms of emissions for these outfits, a huge price tag that real people, regular people that are facing environmental impacts and injustice every day, a price tag that none of us can afford, or as you said, this single night, this single event. One of the things too that, the articles talk about, not just the huge ecological footprint, but also the fact that the people who are actually the workers making the outfits are not well paid, are worked to the bone in many instances. And so there's also this inequity there, in that you've got this celebrity wearing this grand outfit, which, by the way, when I watched the videos, these outfits looked incredibly painful to wear. First off, half the people couldn't walk on their own. They had to have like an entourage holding up their dress and spreading things out. And then there were like pointy things where they sort of, like J-Lo didn't seem like she could even move in her outfit. And it looked like, again, it was painful. I don't know if it was or not, but so that looked kind of painful. But anyway, we've got these people who are working themselves to the bone for these outfits that these celebrities are wearing once, and the celebrities get all the glamour and the glory, and the workers, it sounds like in a number of instances, are not being well paid, and perhaps are even being overworked. And that just is, again, another incredible dichotomy between what you see, but what is actually happening behind the scenes to make this moment, this literal moment, possible.
Yeah, and I was reading an article just to see like about Met Gala too, and so somebody, Eco Explorers on Medium, they wrote about how the Met Gala is paving the way for sustainable fashion, and in 2019 the theme was camp, notes on fashion, and um it said, besides the theme, included a message about sustainability. The exhibit that accompanied the event included a section on sustainable fashion, which highlighted designers who were making eco-friendly clothing, which again, like it's great. Like, and we're not over here saying that anybody is perfect, that nobody is like not creating problems sometimes for the environment. Like nobody's saying that. But you you host an event that like probably costs millions to put on every year. You charge people thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I don't even want to know, like, yeah, the cost that went into this. And people are suffering to make it. And frankly, it doesn't do anything for the environment. And it's just such a slap in the face. And I mean, I'm very appreciative to all celebrities who like support the environment and donate and do what they can, and it's great, and I'm never gonna, be upset at that, but I'm also like, I'm always gonna say do more. There is so much more that they could all do. And so for them to spend all this money or have these outfits that they know are gonna cost millions of dollars, and it's just infuriating. And it should have been, you know what, if you were gonna make it this theme, it should have been you can't walk the carpet unless you can show that your dress or your outfit is 100% sustainably made or from recycled materials. Like that's what it should have been.
Yeah. And it's not even, in this context, it's not even do more, it's do something. Right, as you said, so you're basing yourself on nature and the resilience of nature, using nature as your vision, right, your inspiration. Last year or whatever, a recent year, talking about the environmental footprint of the fashion industry and things that can be done to remedy it. And then just to have this incredible dichotomy with this single night that is so antithetical to what it means to protect and care for and be inspired by nature. And so that, I think that that's really the outrage. And I think you touched on, I wanted to say, before we get the hate mail and the hate emails, and the letters to the editor about what horrible people we are because we don't want to have any fun. We don't want to see anybody have any fun. That is not true, right? Right? Yes, there are places and spaces. It's important for us all to celebrate life, to have moments of joy. Everything we do has an environmental impact, has an environmental footprint. But, what we're talking about here is literally not just doing nothing, but holding an event that is having an incredibly significant, devastating impact on the environment, on the climate, and sending a message to young people and to impacted communities that these celebrities and these fashion designers and fashionistas don't care, that their one night at the Met is more important than taking a moment to think about how you can have this beautiful night, this engaged night, but do so in a way that protects the earth and protects and honors communities at the same time. There really is a way to do them both. You can have fun and celebrate and have beauty and protect the environment. And if your message is about the resilience of nature, the beauty of nature, and the importance of protecting nature, then you need to live what you are saying.
Yeah, exactly. And that's is like it's cool. I like seeing the outfits, I like seeing the dresses, but yeah, it's just hard when this is the message. And yeah, it's hard for young people and for people in impacted communities and all that to be like, I'm getting asthma or I might be dying because of pollution in the world and nothing's being done to solve it. And then here's this theme. Um, but on the positive, we'll give some shout outs to some of the celebrities who did incorporate sustainable fashion, which is great. So this is from Environment by Impact, highlighted some of them. So Charlie XCX her look was upcrafted from upcycled vintage worn out t-shirts. So that was cool. It says FKA Twigs, Ed Sheeran, and Cara, I'm gonna say her name wrong, Delevingne Venine. I always say it wrong. These three were styled by Stella McCartney, who is known for bringing sustainability and cruelty-free materials onto their runway. Their looks were embedded with sustainable lab-grown diamonds. Great. Amanda Seyfried, who reportedly often feels anxious about climate change, specifically asked for a sustainable dress for tonight's gala. The dress fabric was repurposed from a 2009 spring collection. So, I mean, yeah, like even if they all just rewore outfits from past ones. And then we have Maria Sharapova, Laffy, Simone Ashley, and Demi Lovato, all designed by Prabhabel Gurung, had dresses made from sustainable, ethically sourced materials. Demi Moore's look was made of upcycled vintage wallpaper with floral patterns. And then they also have Lily Gladstone, was adorned with recycled silver stars and vintage beads.
See,
So
that's awesome. I mean, that's fun and it's exciting and it takes a lot more creativity. Remember, we spoke to that wonderful young person a season or two back, and she was talking about how she collects old clothing and makes new clothing out of it, and how exciting it was to see her creativity come to life. This is the same kind of opportunity. I mean, it's actually, I think, much harder to find a way to create this kind of beautiful fashion where you are upcycling something, using a different kind of material, incorporating an outfit of the past into your outfit of the present. To me, that makes it all much more exciting and therefore much more beautiful as well. So I'm glad you highlighted those folks, Annika. But I also want to highlight, right, there are other companies right now who are making clothing for everyday people that do so in a way that is environmentally beneficial. There are lots of companies that are part of 1% for the planet. right? 1% for the planet companies not only do things that are an environmentally, socially minded, protective way, but they also donate part of their proceeds, 1% of their profits, go to good causes, right? Like the wonderful Colton King that supports green amendments for the generations. That's a 1% for the planet company, not a fashion company, but a skincare and hair care, body care company. But there are a lot of fashion, or there are a lot of clothing companies that do that. Patagonia is one of them. There's also a company, Love Chaos, Chaos with a K, and they actually seem to do fashion, beautiful dresses. So there are many ways that we everyday people can find companies that are making real clothing for real people that's protective of the environment, while also being practical and beautiful.
And you're actually, don't you have some upcycled jewelry on right now?
I do. I have this. What I'm wearing is a beautiful necklace, which is actually one part of a set of earrings. When I was out in New Mexico doing some interviews around the Green Amendment movement and touring some fracked gas industrial sites, I mean, it was really horrible and sad to be out there to see the devastation of fracking and the oil and gas industry on indigenous lands and New Mexico's beautiful communities. And at some point during the course of this day of touring, I lost one of my mother's earrings. And many people know, my mother, I lost my mother, you lost your grandmother too many years ago. And so I don't have that many pieces of jewelry of hers that are left. And this particular pair of earrings was one that she wore all the time. And so when I had to do something special and I wanted to have the power of my mother, I would put these earrings on. So it was very sad to have lost one during that. I think I lost it because it was during COVID. And so I was doing a mask on and off, on and off. And that's when I think I lost it out there somewhere in the wilds of New Mexico. But I found a local artist, actually the artist that made the Guardian cuffs that I'm wearing now, which are also made of environmentally friendly materials by local artisans. She found a way to take my beautiful leftover earring and turn it into a beautiful necklace. So I don't have a set of earrings now, but I get to wear a beautiful necklace that reminds me of Mummy and your Oma.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, I even last night was trying to, I have a sewing machine because a few years ago, or not, well, for a while, I was like, I would like to learn how to sew because that's also something that my Oma did. And I like to think of things that make me feel close to her. So now I have my sewing machine and I'm trying to learn how to make my own clothes. And so last night I was taking my jeans that don't fit me anymore. And I've now made these little, oh, it keeps blanking them out. These are, if you're listening, it's fine. They're just the legs of my jeans, and I just sewed up the bottom of them. And so they're little reusable gift bags that we can use. And if you've ever listened to past episodes, we talk about sustainable gift giving and how we reuse our wrapping paper from decades ago still. So that's a fun little thing. So it's just finding your own ways. And it just, yeah, I mean, it's again, the Met Gala is fun and it's cool. It just really feels like a missed opportunity to exemplify all the ways that fashion can be sustainable for the environment.
Yeah. Like I think when you have that higher platform, when you have wealth or you have celebrity, yes, it creates wonderful opportunity for you to enjoy life in many ways that the rest of us can't because we don't have the resources. But it also creates an obligation, right? Because you get those opportunities because of other people, because of the work that you do, because of the natural resources that you utilize perhaps to make your profits. But there's also an obligation to use those additional resources, to use that celebrity to help make life better for everyone. And if you care about the environment, to help protect our beautiful earth, which is so fragile and suffering so much because people are not being mindful about what they do. Again, we all have a footprint, but the size of our footprint makes a huge difference. And when you have money and you have celebrity, you have the great opportunity and the honor and the obligation to reduce your footprint while also making life better for everybody else and inspiring others for how they can reduce their footprint. right? So it's an obligation, it's an opportunity. And as you said, this year's Met event seems like an incredibly huge missed opportunity and a failing down of obligation with a lot of hypocrisy taking place at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think on that note, I think that's the powerful message of the end. And so we hope that maybe next year's Met Gala will be only sustainable fashion and is a great opportunity. So again, as a reminder, if you like to support the work we do, if you live in the Delaware River watershed, go to www.delawareriverkeeper.org. That will be linked below. Make a donation, become a member, join us, support us, take some action. And if you live anywhere in the US and would like to have a constitutional right to breathe clean air, have clean water, a healthy environment, and a stable climate for future generations, go to www.forthegenerations.org. Donate, become a member, take some action, and we'll use this opportunity too. Do you want to talk about a cool Green Amendment event coming up?
Well, first, I want to say there's also the opportunity to buy a Guardian cuff, right? Beautiful Guardian cuff bracelet that supports environmental protection. Or you can purchase a necklace, which is a representation of the beautiful Atlantic sturgeon of the Delaware River. It's a beautiful necklace. Mine is right now packed away in my suitcase because I'm on my way to New York City to talk about the National Green Amendment for the Generations movement, as well as what's happening in New York, which is, so you can get links to purchase the Guardian cuffs and purchase the beautiful Atlantic sturgeon necklace, support Green Amendments for the Generations, support the Delaware Riverkeeper Network, while at the same time sporting some beautiful, environmentally friendly, socially conscious jewelry. But in terms of the upcoming event on July 12th, we are organizing a tremendous march and rally to celebrate the New York Green Amendment that protects the rights of all New Yorkers to clean water and clean air and a healthful environment. But that is also going to challenge the New York governor, the New York Attorney General, and the New York Department of Environmental Conservation to embrace their Green Amendment obligations, their constitutional obligation to recognize and protect the rights of the people as an obligation they must fulfill, but also, like talking about celebrities, an opportunity to do better. So we're going to have a great rally in Albany, July 12th. If you can attend, that's awesome. But even if you can't attend, we have a sign-on letter that we are going to be delivering to the governor, the attorney general, and the DEC on that day. It's a letter that urges them to embrace their constitutional obligation to protect the environmental rights of all New Yorkers for present and future generations. So if you're from New York, your signature on that letter will be powerful, will be important. And if you can join us on July 12th, that will be awesome too. Annika, what's the link to get to all the information as well as the ability to sign on to that letter?
So it is case sensitive. So you have to go bit.ly. So it's bit.ly/GANY rally. And it's capital G, capital A, capital N, capital Y, lowercase RALLY.
Awesome. So I hope that I'll see your names on the letter, and I'll see you all July 12th in Albany, New York.
Awesome. Until next time.
Until next time, or until July 12th.